Set in a 1920 summer in Mississippi, the novel As I Lay Dying centers around the death of wife and mother Addie Bunton and how her 5 children and husband cope with her death. Author of As I Lay Dying, William Faulkner, is very particular about his word choice and use of rhetorical strategies in order to create a deeper meaning of each character in the novel. The change of perspective throughout the book allows readers to see each character and come to his or her own conclusion about how the characters transform as the story progresses.
Why didn't you send for me sooner?
It was just one thing and then another. That air corn to me and the boys was aiming to get up with, and Dewey Dell had taken good care of her, and folks coming in offering to help and such. Till I just thought.
Darn the money. Did you ever hear of me worrying a fella before he was ready to pay?
It ain't begrudging the money. I just kept a-thinking. She gone, is she? I knowed it. All the while I made sure her mind is set on it.
Even the family doctor accuses Ance of being selfish. Ance never made his wife's sickness a priority, which ultimately resulted in a preventable death, as Peabody makes point in mentioning. His egocentric ways never diminished even after Addie's long-awaited burial when he shows up and reveals to his children a new set of teeth and a new wife. He is an unchanging character who will remain set in his ways.
Oh, he looked different. He got them teeth.
It's Jewel and Dewey Dell and Bartleman and Cash. Everybody, meet Miss Bondren.
Mom, it's okay. You just need to rest for now. It's all right, Mom. No, Mom. You have to rest your eyes. You have to get better. Even from the moment of Addie's death, all Dewey Dell is concerned about is herself. Although she sheds tears at her mother's bedside, her main focus is on Peabody and how easy it would be for him to just give her what she wants. Similar to the rest of her family, the journey of Addie's burial provides her with an excuse to travel. It gives her the chance to find an abortion method, which she makes several attempts at finding along the way. She proves to be unchanging and merely following in the same footsteps as her mother. You could do so much for me if you just would. If you just knew. I am I and you are you, and I know it and you don't know it. And you could do so much for me if you just would. And if you just would, then I could tell you, and then nobody would have to know it except you and me and Darrell.
Can I help you, ma'am? Do you need help, ma'am?
It's the female troubles.
How long?
It stopped. I've got the money.
Is you married?
I've got the money. Please.
I reckon y'all go yonder and tell your pa.
Please.
There's no help for you around here.
Do you know that she is going to die, Jewel? Jewel, do you know that Addie Bunton is going to die? Addie Bunton is going to die.
All anyone can do is accuse Darrell of being strange because of his intellectual superiority. Even though Darrell has this advantage over his family, he still holds jealousy towards Jewel. He desires affection from his mother in the way that Jewel is loved by her. It is for this reason that Darrell draws Jewel away during their mother's death and continually pesters him over the loss. By the end of the novel, the Buntons believe that Darrell has reached a point of insanity, but to anyone of a higher intelligence, Darrell hasn't changed much at all. His insight has always been undeniable, and he can't help but laugh at the fact that his family think they know what is best for him.
He sat on the ground, and us watching him, laughing and laughing. It was bad, so I'd be darned if I could see anything to laugh at, because there just ain't nothing justifies the deliberate destruction of what a man has built with his own sweat and stored the fruit of his sweat into.
I got us a team. I give the chattel mortgage on my cultivator and cedar. I use some cash as money. And the horse.
What horse? You mean you try to swap my horse?
Jewel. For 15 years I ain't had a tooth in my head. God knows it. He knows in 15 years I ain't ate the victuals he aimed for a man to eat to keep his strength up. And me saving a nickel here and a nickel there so my family wouldn't suffer it. To buy them teeth so I could eat God's appointed food. I give that money. I thought that if I could do without eating, my son could do without riding. God knows I did.
Heck! Yeah! Jewel knows that his mother is dying, and this makes him angry. He feels as if he is the only one who truly cares about Addie. When Ann sells his horse, he becomes enraged and decides to take the horse and run away. Eventually, Jewel ends up giving up the horse in order to get the team needed to lug his mother to Jackson to be buried. Jewel's defying of his father's attempt to take advantage of the family shows Jewel's struggle to break away from the Bondurant cycle of inanity, but he succumbs to his old ways of following the pack instead of making his own decisions when he gives up his horse to continue the journey that he originally set out on with his family. I made it on a bevel. 1. There is more surface for the nails to grip. 2. There is twice the gripping surface to each seam. 3. The water will have to seep into it in a slant. Water moves easiest up and down or straight across. 4. In a house, people are upright 2/3 of the time, so the seams and joints are made up and down, because the stress is up and down. Cash makes it very apparent that his way of thinking shifts from the beginning of the novel to the end. He starts off as being one-track minded, constantly thinking in lists and regimen. When he constructs the coffin, he recites to himself in repetition that things must be balanced and well thought. It is all that he can do to be logical. After his leg is amputated, he comes to the realization that working can no longer be his main focus. This is the turning point in which he begins to show emotion and less robotic ideals. He is the first to see Darrell as someone other than an outcast and provides the readers with a philosophical idea on insanity. Sometimes I ain't so sure who's got every right to say when a man is crazy and when he ain't. Sometimes I think it ain't none of us pure crazy and ain't none of us pure sane until the balance of us talks him that away. It's like it ain't so much what a fella does, but it's why the majority of folks is looking at him that he does it.
Pop, I caught a fish.
Go clean it.
Why can't do a death cleaning?
You gotta go clean it, Vardman.
I want to show Mom.
Go clean it first.
My mother is a fish. My mother is a fish.
Vardaman undergoes the most mental maturity because of his persistent and conscious thought. Addie's death corrupts his innocence in a way that forces him to shift the way he views both life and death. By the end of the novel, the fish that was once nothing more than a meal has helped him to understand not only what his mother's death means, but also how the rest of the family is dealing with the death. By relating the fish to his mother and repeatedly stating that Darrell is his brother, he is gaining the wisdom that the rest of the family is failing to teach him. Even though his understanding of concepts is limited, he finds enough information to mature and keep up with the chaos of his life. My brother is Darryl. He went to Jackson on the train. He didn't go on the train to go crazy. He went crazy in her wagon. Darryl is my brother Darryl.